Hello everybody, it's me Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back again with another dungeon walkthrough. This time, this is for the Stigma Dreamscape, the level 90 dungeon of the part of Final Fantasy Online Endwalker. This unlocks after the main story quests have been completed, and you find the location in Old Charlian at coordinates X11, Y13. Look for the mission called Where No Loperate Has Gone Before to unlock this dungeon. Keep in mind it has an item level requirement of 540 to enter and drops 560 gear, materia, and 80 tomestones of aphorism and 50 tomestones of astronomy. Now, as you first start off with this, you'll deal with your normal issue trash mobs. Normal as in they're not that bad. They're not as bad as the last dungeon. These guys, while they seem to have a good amount of life and they throw a lot of enemies at you, they're not that difficult. You can do very large pulls, gather them all up and burn them down and get past them straight to your first boss. The first boss of this dungeon is against Proto-Omega. That's right, you're fighting a miniaturized version of Omega. Deal with it. Now, first up, the first move he likes to do is side cannons, where it's a giant AoE blast that comes from the side of where he's glowing. You just see the gun turret start glowing, and it'll tell you, and you'll see the little arrow icons. Just get to the other side of them to avoid getting a blast, and you'll be okay. Next up is a move known as frontal interceptors, where he will blast the whole front of him with this giant AoE blast. So when you see him charging this up, make sure to get behind him. Keep in mind, sometimes he does a rear interceptor version of this move as well. You'll have to pay attention. Next up is a move known as Chemical Missile, where all the players except the tank will be marked with an AoE blast on top of them. And what you want to do is spread out, preferably to the far edges of the arena, because after it detonates and hurts you, it'll leave behind a lava puddle. And you want to stay out of this lava puddle because it will stay on the arena for quite a while during this battle, because if you step in it, you will get a burning debuff, and it's not fun. Next up is a move known as Electric Slide, where a player will get a stack marker on them, and you'll want to stack, but be ready because it also is followed with a knockback effect. So you want to place yourself so the knockback won't knock you to the outside area of the arena because you can take damage if that happens. Next up is Guided Missile, where a couple of the players will have a missile tethered to them, and these slow missiles will go across the arena. And what you want to do is lure the missiles to the outside of the arena, because as the missile is slowly moving, it's also dropping lava puddles that stay on the ground for a good amount of time in the battle. Eventually the missiles will catch up with whoever it's tethered to and blow up and cause them some damage. Just like I said, try to lead the missiles on the outside of the arena. It makes the battle a lot easier. And his last move he does is known as Mustard Bomb, which is a heavy-hitting tank buster. Other than that, heal the tank through it, and you'll be able to beat him and get to your next set of trash mobs. Now, the next set of trash mobs, pretty much, once again, aren't really that difficult. You won't really have to deal with much other than some AoE blasts from them and stuff like that, but nothing that you shouldn't be used to at this point. You can do large pulls once again, gather them all up, lead them to a corner, and burn them down. Defeat these little punks and get on to the second boss. The second boss is against Arch Lambda. And I'll go over all the moves with you on this guy. First of all, one of his moves he does is known as Wheel, which is a standard issue tank buster. You'll be fine. Next up is a move known as Atomic Flame, which is a room-wide AoE that can't be avoided. Just heal through it. You should be okay. Next up is Auto Mobile Assault Cannon. Now, this is interesting, and pay attention to where the boss goes. He will mark 4 pats that he's going to do on the arena floor, and then after he marks all 4, he will dash in that order. Make sure to find an area that is not in the dash path to avoid taking damage. Now, after Auto Mobile Assault Cannon, he'll follow it with a move known as Wave Cannon. Once he completes all 4 of his dashes, he will turn around and do a big, giant, area-wide AoE frontal blast. Now, once he zips to the 4th and final spot from the Auto Mobile Assault Cannon move, get behind him as fast as possible to avoid taking massive damage from the move Wave Cannon. Next up is a move known as Auto Mobile Sniper Cannon, where the boss will drop a line AoE across the center of the arena, and players will get a marking over their head. I call it a dot number from 1 to 4. And once the boss crosses over to the other side, a laser blast will hit you, and what you want to do is stay close to the matching icon over your head. If you have 1 dot, get to the one that looks like 1 dot. If you have 2, go to 2, 3, and 4. Basically, what you want to do is make sure you're close to the matching dot number above your head, so when you get hit by the laser blast, it doesn't hurt the whole group. And that's pretty much the only moves that this guy has, and pretty much you'll be able to beat the Arch Lambda and get down to your 3rd set of trash mobs. Now, your last set of trash mobs aren't really anything that you haven't dealt with already. Honestly, you once again can do large pulls with these guys. Some of them are heavy hitters, but once again, you should be used to this at this point. And there's nothing they really do that stands out as being unique to where I don't really have to point anything out for you. Just pull them over to the corner, whip them down, beat those ads, and get to your final boss of this dungeon. Now, the final boss of this dungeon is against the Siege Matrix Stigma 4. He's got a lot of different moves, and naturally I'm going to go over each and every single one of them. First up is a move known as AI Takeover, where he will spawn one of 3 different ads around the arena. Either you will get an Omega frame, a hybrid dragon, or Proto-Rocket Punchers. Now, the Omega frame, treat it just like the first boss. The only difference is, when he has certain sides of him that light up, get to the other side, and he does have a self-destruct, so you have to burn him around and beat him before he fully charges self-destruct, because if he does pull this move off before you kill him, he will wipe the whole group. The second monster that he can summon is a hybrid dragon, which pretty much just blasts a large frontal AoE blast. So when you see this guy, get up close to behind him to avoid his frontal blast. And once again, this guy also has a self-destruct. So you'll have to burn him down and beat him before he completes the charge, or it'll be a wipe. Now, as for the Proto-Rocket Punch, this one's not that difficult. These steel fists will appear around the outside of the arena, and there's always a space where there's not one at. You want to get in that space, because once they fully charge, they will fly across the arena, and if you get hit by them, you take a good amount of damage. Other than that, that's really the only different characters he'll spawn with the AI Takeover move. Now, the other thing this boss does that's interesting is he'll turn into 2 different forms. The first form is he'll turn in this double helix spiral, almost like a DNA strand that's spinning. Now, when he does this, that means he's about ready to set off a very, very dangerous point-blank AoE. So when he's in a double helix spiral shape, get away from him, because that way you can avoid the damage from his point-blank AoE. Now, the other thing he'll turn into is, I'm going to say it looks like a donut. He'll turn into like a ring, like a big donut. And when he does this, he's going to do a giant donut AoE. So the safe spot is right underneath him. So when he's a double helix, get away. And when he's a donut, get right underneath him. And you can avoid these AoE attacks that he does. Next up is a move known as Mind Hack, where once it's fully cast, your character will start running in the direction they're facing and you can't control them for a short bit. He will normally combine this with either turning into the double helix spiral or the donut, so you'll have to be able to figure out to get it to where when this move kicks in, you can't control your character. He will run in the directions he's facing. So you have to make it to where, once again, if he's turning into a helix spiral, get it to where your guy runs away from him. And if he's turning into a donut, get him to run towards him. That way you can hopefully avoid the AoE blasts. Now, his next move he does is known as Atomic Ray. It's your standard issue room-wide AoE. Just heal through it, you'll be fine. And the last move he does is known as Multi-AI Takeover. Now, this is where he will spawn 2 of the different ads from earlier at the same time. This is where he kind of mix it up, so you have to pay attention, because a lot of times he'll have the Proto-Rocket Punches going on the same time as either a Hybrid Dragon or an Omega frame. So you'll have to pay attention to this to avoid the flying fists and then get over and burn down those enemies, avoiding their AoE blast and defeating them before they self-destruct. Now, those are all the moves that the Siege Matrix Stigma 4 uses, and once you are able to burn him down, you will beat this dungeon. This was Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I want to thank each and every one of you for watching these videos. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this. Please leave a comment below if you feel I left anything out or if there's anything I should leave out. And remember, I always end my videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.